What up, what up? It is another episode of Interrupted. I am Mark, pinch hitting today for Brian, who for some reason is unavailable to host. He said he had work. If you're listening to this right now, just make sure to tweet at Captain Cuddles and tell him that he's slacking on his duties as a quote-unquote podfather. But
I'll tweet him real quick.
luckily, Mr. Reliable was here to sub in for him as host. So again, I am Mark. I am joined by my esteemed colleagues. We have with us a large panel. We have, of course, our queen, Haley. Haley, how are we tonight?
Good. Thanks for calling me a queen. That's nice. Nice to hear.
It was triple digits temperatures for you today. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's Texas. Like, that's usual. But in my car, so that was not the temperature outside, but in my car when I left work, it was 109.
Ew, that like 84 disgusts me, so I couldn't even imagine.
It's dry. It hurts to breathe sometimes. It's not fun. And my HOA is like dragging their feet, giving me my pool pass, so I'm mad. Nate, I can see you.
Yeah, I know. What the fuck? Everyone can.
That's a great reminder that if you are listening to us, you could be watching us instead. Go to the Bones Media YouTube page and watch this episode. Also, listen to it, though. We need the listens. So just, kind of double consume our content.
Double fist.
Just play it at the same
so
time.
what you do is, while you listen to it, you can also watch it and just watch it on mute.
Yeah.
You know what? I like that. That's good. That's good.
You got to sync it up, though.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't call it double fisting, Mark. That's not. Wrong term.
Let people use their imaginations. Playing in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals virtually because we have no hockey yet.
Yeah.
Mr. Snake, Jake, how are we?
Doing good. Just made Elvis Merskilins a Stanley Cup champion for the Seattle Buccaneers in my creative league because I have nothing better to do with my life. And I also shaved my head today, believe it or not.
Really?
I did.
Let's see it.
You just see that at some point. Oh, okay. Not full. Okay, we're just saying.
Okay, I see you.
So, bullying?
All right. Still close enough.
Yeah.
We should shave Nate's hair. No reason.
Hey, yo, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Actually, yeah, let's shave Nate's here.
Let's
Nate,
do a poll and see how many people on Twitter want Nate to shave his head.
Yeah, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, we'll start a poll. We'll let this is democracy. We'll have our listeners and readers, if you go to ponesmedia.com, by the way, another shameless plug. We'll let them all vote on whether or not we want to see Nate with a wiffle head.
Yeah, no.
If you're red mood lighting, how are you on this fine evening?
Oh, dude, I'm amazing. Feeling good.
You feel nice and breezy when your hair is cut.
What? Huh?
When your hair's cut, you're going to feel nice and breezy.
Dude, I already feel the breeze. Have them locked like Mr. Austin Whittle.
Jesus Christ.
Well, speaking of Mr. Austin Whittle, he is also joining us. Austin, what's going on today?
Nothing much. I made some buffalo cheeseburgers for dinner. They were good. I ate some blue cheese.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Buffalo cheeseburger. So like buffalo sauce on a just beef pat?
I can text you the recipe, Jake. I got you.
All right, because I'm kind of confused here because it sounds like you just poured buffalo sauce onto beef and threw it up.
It's pretty much what it was.
Yeah, okay.
But it was actually pretty good.
Use of condiments on regular burgers, got it.
Well, no, like I made the buffalo sauce homemade, but...
Okay, so like, I don't know, I'm still confused, but we'll talk about that.
I'll text you the recipe.
Please share with the group.
Okay.
Austin actually made his blog debut today. So again, shameless plug, go check out the website. Go to see what Austin recommends for all of you to watch during quarantine. If you are not poor and you have Hulu,
Physical musical, the musical.
It is. It is.
But you got Hulu and Netflix.
I'm not a dictator, but I would not have published that if that was his recommendation. And last but certainly not least, our Celtic expert, our hoops guy, Corey. What's going on tonight?
What's going on? Actually, tonight, I put it in the Pones Media group chat. I copped the original Air Jordan 1s today after waiting 2 months since the beginning of the documentary. I finally got them.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for mine too. I ordered the high top version of what you put in the chat. I'm still waiting for mine.
Yeah, those are the mids that I got.
Yeah, those are awesome. I was so much Jordan nostalgia from that. I'm missing episodes of The Last Dance. I wish that they would put out some more.
Me too.
Well, we got that Brady doc next year, so
yeah.
That's right.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, in case anyone is wondering, I also had an excellent day. And
yeah, we aren't. Don't worry.
No, we are.
We are. Shut up, Nate.
Without further ado, let's just kind of
goddamn.
So, obviously, the agenda for the evening was set by Mr. Captain Cuddles, who again is not joining us because of lack of commitment. And Brian.
Yeah,
but he wanted us to start off with a little pop culture debate. 80s versus 90s. Brian, of course, being the resident boomer of the group, he is an 80s kid. The rest of us are 90s kids, except for Austin and Nate.
Little bunch of 2000s bitches.
Yeah, like toddlers.
Bunch of
infants.
Yeah, I'm still the best person in Pwn, so.
No, well.
That's strongly
You're the only one that thinks that, so.
Like, Corey thinks that, right, Corey?
You know what I
think I'm the best?
What do I think?
I think I'm the best person.
Pop culture was
right?
like back then.
Oh, of course.
But we can get started off here. So I guess to kind of go around our room here, do you know anything about 80s pop culture to start off? And if so, what do you think is better, 80s or 90s? Give me a little lay of the land. Haley, we'll start with you.
Well, obviously being born in the 90s, I love the 90s, but the movies in the 80s were definitely better. They're classics. I mean, Breakfast Club and, St. Elmo's Fire, Pretty in Pink, all the ones we were talking about just a little bit ago. Grease. They're all pretty amazing.
In the 70s.
Was it? I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it till like the 2000s, so I didn't know that. I thought it was the 80s. Whoops. Sorry, Mom.
78.
I refused to watch it for so long because I thought I was going to hate it, and then my mom was like pretty much saying she would disown me if I didn't watch it, so I did.
It's a good movie.
Just like Mark forced me to watch Top Gun, so.
I mean,
just trying to broaden your horizons.
Yeah, I mean, I don't watch a lot of movies or TV, so in my opinion, I love the 90s because I grew up in the 90s, so I'm going to say that.
That just means you're old.
No, it really doesn't, though, but okay. You didn't even graduate high school yet.
Damn.
Sorry. Next year.
Maybe next year. Maybe,
yeah.
Yes, next year.
We'll see.
We'll see.
80s music? Anyone particular fan of like 80s classic rock?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, first band that comes to mind, Queen, especially in their later years. Obviously Prince. Really, Elton John, although he spanned 70s into there. Even Led Zeppelin too, although they were they ended, but not really. But yeah, those are like the big three that I can really think of off the top of my head. Other than that, I don't really touch the 80s. Oh, George Michael too. He was a big 80s star.
Michael Jackson too.
Michael Jackson, yeah.
Bon Jovi.
I mean, we could sit here all night.
80s music was
Continue.
great.
Remember
Journey.
Journey was
more 70s.
I'd say 70s.
Yeah.
They were like the 70s rock era. They had some songs in the 80s with, I think, Lights, but
yeah, but those are normally like the big type of bands you can remember. So obviously they do leave their impression to younger people like myself. I was born in '99, so I wouldn't even call myself a '90s kid because I didn't experience anything, or if I did, I don't remember it. But definitely just.
You were at least alive for Y2K.
Yeah, I was alive. Well, who knows? I might have not remembered if Y2K happened.
It may have happened. We were all warned to make sure we turned off our big, bulky gateway PCs before midnight on December 1st,
The Matrix. That's it.
So if we didn't, maybe we were all maybe we're all in that simulation now. Who knows?
We are waiting for Agent Smith.
woke.
But in terms of like 90s pop culture, I mean, we touched on it Corey and I a little bit with The Last Dance, but I mean, '90s was so massive in terms of like you had Space Jam that came out that was kind of like representative of the mid '90s. You had a lot of grunge. Like, did anyone have like a grunge? I had a grunge phase.
No, absolutely not.
No, I don't think
Ashley
so.
did. Ashley had that like emo phase. She since like she like this was months ago. She just randomly texted the group chat of like this was like the early days of like her grunge, and it was just like, why did we need to see that?
Well, grunge and emo are definitely different, but
Okay,
I like the effort that you.
It is. It's pretty different.
Oh well.
He tried.
We're talking about like Stone Temple Pilots. Metallica was not grunge; it was heavy metal, but it was in that period. I mean, there was
basically
WAF around here.
I'm not gonna lie, I was
Basically
super
any
early.
band.
I listened to Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, and all that shit as a kid. So I was never grunge or emo. It was all pop music and shit like that. Now as an adult, I listen to like classic rock and stuff, but not as a kid growing up.
Austin, because I'm always a little surprised when you bring up like 80s and 90s pop culture, or especially 80s pop culture stuff, because of being like 19. What got you into that?
Yo, what the hell?
My father. Like, cause
Jake, you doing magic over there?
Yeah.
It's like, so like my dad was obviously grew up in the 80s, so like what I went to like bed with was like classic rock. So like what put me to sleep as a kid? Well, I guess like there's some classic rock and then some not, because what put me to bed when I was a kid was the Beatles, Peter, Paul, and Mary, and stuff like that. And so then I just loved classic music. And it was
I got
just because of
Rockabye
that.
Baby and like You Are My Sunshine. And
That wouldn't put me to sleep.
I don't even think I got music to go to sleep.
Yeah.
It went lights out.
Oh, I do that all the time. I sleep to music. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
I love imagining just Austin.
No, I sleep in total silence. PVR.
With his
Like, everything is
little
off.
cradle going around and just the Beatles blaring in the background. You
I've told some people this
come together.
before, but in case you've never heard my tip for the easiest way to go to sleep, I will put on an episode of Painting with Bob Ross on my phone. I am out.
ASMR, man. ASMR.
It never fails.
Works
That
well.
guy with that monotone voice. It's also good to watch even if you're not trying to sleep. Bob Ross is the man. But if you want to find a quick, easy way to go to sleep, throw some Bob Ross on there, and you are going to be out like a light.
Or you could be like me and take medicine, trazodone. That's the only way I sleep. So
Melatonin.
Melatonin is just like a supplement. Actually, I have to a prescription for trazodone to take.
Yeah, my sleep schedule is fucked right now.
Yeah, it's because you stay up all the time, bro.
Yeah, dude.
I gotta go to
2
work.
out of the past 3 days, I've saw light out of this window and heard the birds. It's not okay.
Nate, do you know what day it is?
What up?
Do you know what day it is? When's the last time you left your?
It's the 9th.
When's the last time you left?
What day of the week?
Tuesday.
Oh,
you got it. You got it.
Took him a little bit of time there, though. He wasn't
It was
sure.
either Tuesday or Wednesday.
When's the last time you left your room?
Yeah, not that long ago, like an hour ago.
Was it just to go to the bathroom?
No, I went outside.
Oh,
Well, there you go.
bathroom?
It's a fresh air.
Freight
I've been
tells you
walking.
out there.
World is your oyster.
Yeah, I've been walking recently. Very nice. Going around the neighborhood. You know,
Uh-huh.
usual.
He is.
Good for you being a typical teenage boy. Like, awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats, man. Good for you.
Been walking.
Oh my god.
It's been walking. Just keep
Keep walking.
walking.
That's just about it.
Is that exercising?
Because EA.
How
the
did
dog shit comes
we were on pop culture. How did we get to Nate walking?
I don't know where we got.
We tend to go off book here, but I mean, given that really, I mean, some of us are appreciators of 80s culture, but Brian's really the only 80s enthusiast. Given that he's not here, what is
old
something
ass
that you'd like to tell Brian right now? We'll go on the room.
Honestly, let me
Why the 80s are worse than the 90s.
Brian, I want you to take your little stereo and I want you to turn down your Madonna music real quick, and I just want you to listen to the words that I'm gonna say. No one cares about the 80s, bud.
There it is.
Brian, make sure you watch the YouTube video. So you get the full effect of that.
He even pulled himself forward a little bit, and it was an emotional deliverance there.
Yeah.
Like had to get the message across, like bury it into his skull.
Brian's not here to make a point, so if 80s automatically loses.
Yeah, with all the real estate I have in Brian's head, it's kind of hard to get some other stuff into there, but.
Now, we'd be here an extra 2 hours if Brian was here. He'd just be defending himself about the 80s.
Brian would be
definitely.
Brian would be on a 45-minute rant right now.
Yeah.
He'd be like, no, Jake, you're missing the point here. And then he'd just keep going on and on.
It was better when MTV only did music.
Back in my day.
You sound exactly like my dad. He always says that shit. I mean,
Brian,
I would say that MTV is much better than current MTV, but that's besides the point. There's some shows on MTV.
Well, even though it was making fun of Brian as like a boomer take, the fact that MTV is literally only like reality TV now, that's kind of weird. Like,
stupid.
Oh, hello,
Mark,
MTV.
do you remember like Fuse TV?
yes.
Yeah. That shit was pretty awesome.
But I mean, MTV too, like, used to at least have like a lot of stuff besides just like, hey, we're gonna play 10 straight hours of Jersey Shore Family Reunion.
And like Teen Mom 2 of 16 pregnant.
If you're a teenager, get pregnant so you can get on TV.
Yeah, how many versions of Teen Mothers can we see?
A lot.
Yeah.
Too many.
Yes, ratings.
Easy money for them.
It's drama
That's
creates
true.
drama creates dollars.
We're kind of crossing over into like 2000s pop culture. Like, it's become so much more mainstream. Like, almost like the 2000s pop culture almost feels like it's retro now. Like early 2000s, like early aughts, which is weird. Like, I mean, Austin was a toddler at the time, but like, you know, Nate wasn't even born. But
Nate wasn't even.
I mean, I remember like early 2000 stuff, like some stuff, I guess, not like a lot, but like I watched Drake and Josh.
Oh, that show is awesome.
Yeah, Drake and Josh, like
iCarly,
Rugrats. Or Rugrats was more 90. I would say.
Yeah, Rugrats was 90.
Yeah.
But they did a couple seasons in 2000. The 2000s.
Yeah, they just weren't as good,
They make a
though.
movie too.
They completely.
They made multiple movies.
You guys had like the Rugrats all growed up thing. Like that.
Oh
was
yeah, that was stupid.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, let's take the point of this show and get rid of it completely.
Yeah,
and
just ruin it.
Not babies anymore.
And then I like remember Rocket Power and stuff like that. Jimmy Neutron.
Power Rangers.
Oh, Jimmy Neutron was like my favorite show as a kid.
Jimmy Neutron was pretty
Power
awesome.
Rangers was on when
Fairly
they were
Odd
kids.
Parents.
Well, yeah, Power Rangers
SpongeBob.
transcended 3 decades.
It's been 93 since it was the first Mighty Morphin.
Correct.
Yeah, 93.
Marky was up on Saturday mornings watching some Power Rangers and some Spider-Man cartoons. That was how I got my weekend going.
My favorite show growing up was Rocko's Modern Life, but as a child I couldn't say it. I said Rocko's Mother's Life. Oh.
Bro, like just watching some of like those old like Nick shows and stuff like that, and just like going back and watching them like as you're older, and you get some of the innuendos in those types of shows.
Oh my gosh, there's so many.
The adult show? Yeah.
Yeah, Rocko was a phone sex worker.
Dude, in songs too, though. Remember that Barbie girl song? It's disgusting. Look at the words.
I think we're also missing something that was huge in the 90s as well, and I think we're also overlooking the effect that wrestling had on the 90s.
Oh, don't get me started.
Oh, God. The Attitude Era,
the Attitude Era was amazing.
The way the 90s closed with wrestling, wrestling was the 90s pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mark, would you agree
they had
with
some of the biggest stars back then.
It's actually a good opportunity to shamelessly plug the fact that we are launching a Pones Media Wrestling podcast. It will be co-hosted by Corey and Islam, and it's still in development right now. But we are going to be launching that fairly soon. We're very excited about it. We have a lot of very passionate wrestling peeps. So that's a wonderful segue. That
Oh man, I am so excited. I could talk wrestling literally all day if I had to.
Yeah.
Corey, who was your
I can
favorite
talk
growing
90s
up?
into 2000s.
Who was my favorite growing up? I
Yeah.
started watching towards the end of like the Ruthless Aggression era, so it was like 2007, 2008. So as a kid, it was Cena, and then I like Triple H, and then Orton. But now I'm more of a Seth Rollins fan now.
I'm
But
Yeah,
the
he's very
correct
awesome.
question would probably be, who is your favorite wrestler and why is it Rikishi?
Because he did it for The Rock.
When
He
I
did it
was
for-
when I was in elementary school, it ended in 6th grade. It was an elementary school in Pennsylvania, and we had to like write something in there what we wanted to be remembered by, and I legit drew like the HBK symbol and wrote like a quote about it.
Yo, I used to get in
It's just
trouble for
sitting there
doing
like,
this
what the fuck are y'all
in
talking
elementary
about?
school.
Oh God.
I got detention for a whole week back in elementary school for doing the DX suck it.
Yeah, it's
Just to some of my classmates, but apparently a teacher was watching and did not understand that it was a wrestling
do that.
reference. That was not. That was no.
Imagine how many '90s kids got in trouble for flipping the bird off, like Austin, to like
Oh,
teachers
yeah.
and stuff.
Probably all the time.
One of my friends would like
Stunning the shit out of each other.
somewhat looked like The Rock, and it would just like he would like imitate The Rock, and even like refer to himself as The Rock as like middle school, and like he would be like, "Come and get your candy ass," and he was like,
Roll Boulevard.
like
The Rock
trying to
sings.
like drop people's elbows. I'm like,
Did he talk?
just did not
Did he talk
understand
in
how
third person?
big of an influence wrestling had on us. It was crazy.
Did he talk in third person?
Yes, like literally all the time. It was very annoying. It was like he like was teetering on cool, but then he would use the third person, and I'd be like, "All right, man, just go away. I can't stand you."
Yeah, can't use third person.
Oh,
No, The Rock was so good though. He was
Yeah.
amazing.
because
His mic skills untouchable.
Like the subplots, like I always liked how people would be like, it's not real, right? It's like, no shit. We don't think that it's real. It's entertaining. Like they have subplots. They have stories back. Yeah, I know that someone's not sneaking behind backstage.
Literally in the name.
Someone
World
with
Wrestling
a
Entertainment.
Hey, I mean, they actually used to like fall on real thumbtacks and stuff. So their injuries and shit were real. It wasn't like wrestling that you see in college and stuff.
Edge putting Mick Foley through that table is just ingrained into my childhood memories.
Yes.
Oh my God, that was such an awesome moment.
If any of you guys haven't seen the Andre the Giant documentary
I
that
did.
was on HBO,
I did see that.
I recommend you watch it. It was like kind of heartbreaking about like how much turmoil and anguish his body was in by like the end of his life, but it was like entertaining nonetheless. Like the guy was incredible.
Yeah, I feel bad for Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 3 because remember he didn't know if he was gonna have to put Andre over or not, and then he didn't find out until during the match because Andre would be like he'd say like kick or punch and what was it? What else would they talk about?
Literally couldn't move.
Oh yeah, he literally couldn't move. He had like back problems. He had a bunch of problems, leg problems, foot problems, pretty much everything he had problems with. I felt so bad for him.
Yeah, it was rough, but
But Vince was getting choked up about him. Remember when they asked him what his reaction was when he found out they had passed?
Yeah, it was crazy. Well, see, there you go. We worked in some 80s talk at the end there. So Brian,
You're welcome, Brian.
welcome.
Even though you canceled on us.
Yeah, now go turn back on your Madonna and go do whatever you do with your floor and have fun.
But yeah, so moving on. Obviously, we have sports news. We finally have sports news. It's crazy. It's
We
amazing.
forgot to mention Weird Al. Just FYI. Sorry, just popped into my head.
That's true. True. How dare us? But yeah, we finally have sports news. So NBA is back. NHL is back. Both these leagues are going to be kicking things off in mid-July. They're going to have like mini training camp to make sure that their athletes are all like back in shape. As Nate and Corey both changed to green mood lighting.
We
the
had
Celtics,
Christmas
baby.
there for a
gotta
second.
go put on my
Nate had
blue.
red, Corey had green.
But
Should I
yeah,
just like turn it onto like the jump and just like go like rainbow?
They're gonna
Sure.
give somebody a seizure.
Do what you want, mate.
Oh, I
Yeah,
literally just got these lights yesterday. I'm still learning how to use this.
Yeah, hit the
yeah,
button
so
and
even
it
though
changes to the color.
Oh, for
even
real?
we have,
Yeah, you see it? You hit the remote.
probably never
Press the power
ball.
button. It
Hey,
turns off.
Nate, shut up. Mark is trying to talk.
Okay, I don't give a shit.
Wow.
Should.
Wow.
Easy there, son.
Wow!
Mute him.
Wow!
So even though we will never have baseball again, it seems like we do have NBA and NHL coming back. So we'll talk about this a little bit more on House of Hoops. Another shameless plug. I'm just going to shamelessly plug all of our content all night long. So this is what happens when Brian leaves me in charge. But but let's go around the room and kind of, I guess, combine both these topics into one, because I know that not everyone's hockey people, not everyone's basketball. Some of us are neither. So how excited are we about basketball and hockey coming back? What do we think about the Bruins and Celtics chances? And just in general, what our thoughts? Is the NBA being too transparent in the fact that they are absolutely trying to find a way to get Zion Williamson into the playoffs? The answer is yes. But yeah, let's go around the room. Jake, what do you think?
First of all, I'm excited about the Bruins coming back. I'm going to be honest, I'm more of a hockey guy than a basketball guy, but I do love my Celtics. The only thing I'm worried about for the Celtics is just the rest that everyone's really been on, but of course that gave us time to get a healthy Kemba back as well, and hopefully everyone on that team's healthy. The only worry that I have is that almost all the stacked teams in the West are in that category. And before, it was almost maybe a guarantee that you wouldn't have to worry about a team in the East until the semifinals, maybe the quarterfinals. But now that it's really unsure who you're going to face past that second round, it kind of just puts it up in the air. I think the NBA is more wide open than it has been in a very long time. And the fact that they have imposed a lot of Western Conference teams into that, I really don't know if the East stands a chance, but I do think the Celtics can play on a level playing field with a lot of other teams. But the one concern I have for the NBA is that I don't know if any of you caught this today, but they basically said they weren't going to test for any street drugs, meaning weed. And I also don't know if many of you realize this, but a lot of the guys will be sitting out, most notably Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. And so really to me, the whole idea of the NBA and what they're doing with their postseason, it kind of just almost became an all-star weekend, pretty much. I feel like it's more a glorified all-star weekend because Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, I'm just picking on these two specifically. They said that they don't want to play, but they're going to be there.
Yeah.
Why even show up if you're not going to play in the first place? So it's just a little weird to me that they're going to go, and really the reason they're going to go is to screw around, be with the guys, have parties, do all that, and have fun. But it just, to me, it feels like it takes away from the chances, because I would have loved to say Kevin Durant and Kyrie, as much as I despise both of them, I would have loved to see them in the playoffs, and I think it would have added a lot of added revenue and a lot of just absolute star power and just uncertainty to the NBA playoffs that we really haven't seen in a long time. So I would have liked to see that, but that's just my little nitpick in that. But for the NHL, doesn't matter. Bruins winning all the way. Tuukka Rask owning. Don't care. Debate a wall.
I like your logic.
What do you guys think about the aspect? Because now that it's a reality, it's definitely happening. It's not like hypothetical anymore. What do you think about the fact that we're going to have all of these athletic, all these games with no fans? It's going to be just like completely empty arenas. Is it weird? Do you just not care because, bottom line, we're getting sports back? Like, what do we think?
It's going to be certainly weird, I feel like, just because we've never experienced something like that. And I know that the NBA said that they potentially would be adding in 2K noises, but that's just gonna make it even weirder, I feel like, because it's not necessarily natural. It doesn't free flow. The best way to do it is just no noise, have all the players pretty much mic'd up, and hear what they're actually saying. When you get the mic'd up versions on ESPN, and sometimes they'll mic up players, but they don't cut it all out. have mic'd up for certain players and do that. I feel would be the best.
You really got to think of sponsorships and TV.
Yeah.
There's a reason they're not doing that. I'm sure they would love to do that. That the headlines and just the absolute viewership that they would gain from that would be massive. But you also got to think of the backlash, because there'll be some insults thrown onto that court or the ice.
I guarantee it. I mean, that's sports. That's natural.
Some people are going to lose a lot of respect, but I mean, you just got to think of it that way. But with the 2K noises, just keep it silent at that point. I don't even care.
Yeah, it's like it's not going to feel natural. Like 2K noises are like 2K and Madden noises and stuff like that, and even Chell and like even the show, they're not natural sounding. They're just random people put together. It doesn't sound free flowing like a normal crowd would.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement that piping in video game noise is just really dumb. Whoever had that idea should just be fired.
Should be thrown off a bridge into a lake.
What else about these leagues coming back? Do you think that it's not even worth it at this point? Because of all of the different restrictions that are going to be imposed on these players. I mean, the NBA players are going to Orlando for like 6 to 7 weeks without their wives. Shout out Gordon Hayward. He's probably going to perform so much better without Robin.
He looks yoked. He looks pretty yoked. I don't know if you saw the video of him. Well, he's always been in pretty good shape, but he's looked a little more defined than he has in the past few years.
Robin's been pushing him in quarantine.
Yeah.
Go ahead, you better get him at you.
He was chopping wood recently, and she was like publicly shaming him on social media for the way he was chopping wood. I'm like, what?
That's not shocking.
Stop cyberbullying your husband. I don't like it.
Gordon Hayward prays every day that he had a son.
Only getting one. Shout out to Gordon Jr. I think that's name's going to be. I don't know. But no, back to the actual question. I mean, do you guys think that it's like, would you rather just not see a potentially watered down version of the playoffs? Would you rather just kind of scrap everything and wait until like October to start everything up again? Like, what are your main thoughts on that?
I'm gonna if anyone else wants to go before I jump in, because I know I've already talked.
Please, let's open this up to more than just Jake.
I'm just excited to have sports back. I mean,
yeah.
I just want to watch sports, so I don't really care.
I think the only league that really screwed themselves was the MLB, because now it looks like that they're not coming back at all because the players and the owners can't reach an agreement.
Yeah.
I could sit here for 45 minutes just ranting about how stupid the MLB is.
Oh, it's so stupid.
Like my big thing with sports coming back is how much is it gonna fuck up your next couple of seasons?
Okay, it shouldn't be too bad for most of the major leagues like the NBA and the NFL. It might be a little bit harder for the NHL, but MLB definitely. They need to take this opportunity to refine their game massively. And I know that they're struggling with trying to only pay their players 75% and have 70 games. They're like, no, we want all the money. And I kind of talked about this yesterday to the guys because we were gonna record yesterday, but Brian slacking on his podcast always. But the MLB can use this to refine their season because obviously they're playing through most of the end of the NHL and NBA season, and they're finishing right as the beginning of the NFL starts. No one really cares at that point. Obviously, the World Series is there. You're going to have people tune in. But the MLB can use this as an opportunity to play 50, 60, 70, maybe 80 games, finish in July, because they're the only sport that's on in the summer. People only tune in because they have nothing better to do. If you have a World Series by August, maybe early September at the latest, the amount of viewership that you can garner and the amount of money that you can garner in revenue would be massive because it'd be at a time where sports are just ending. Everyone's tuning in. You're having the World Series. You're having this large, massive playoffs. make a ton of money, be done. NFL starts right up, and it just continues the chain. And for some reason, the MLB just cannot figure out what to do because they're just too stupid. And Rob Manfred decided that he doesn't want to pay his players across the league. So it's just.
Well, that's what happens when there's no salary cap and you pay your players like $300 million.
It's just stupid. It's borderline stupid to me. I don't get it.
It is, and it goes back to the owners, not just Rob Manfred. It's the owners who don't want to pay.
It's the owners, but
and
Rob Manfred isn't just as much to blame as everyone else in that situation.
The players' union proposed an 89 game schedule today. Owners have already basically said that they're not going to accept it. I mean, basically, these two sides are neither is negotiating in good faith. Both are putting out offers that they know the other side is not going to accept, and then ultimately we're going to have no baseball. So, Nate, stop dancing.
Nate?
I'm just.
Did you turn your lights off?
No, they're white.
Nate, what do you think about everything we talked? Give us.
I've just been sitting here.
Nate was not paying
We
attention.
realized that.
I just want sports back. That's it.
Did anyone see Gronk's Instagram post?
No.
Yeah, he looks like a total tool.
Oh, and he was wearing Buccaneers stuff for the first time. I saw that.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
He's got the Buccaneers stuff. He's got the beard going. He actually looks nice with the beard, but just the glasses got.
He's got like typical Florida man look.
He looks like a dick. He looks like a dick. Just an absolute dick. I'm sorry.
I saw one of his WWE promos and it was horrible. Oh my god.
That was
so bad.
Corey's so happy to have Gronk gone from the WWE.
Oh yeah, he was really doing nothing for them.
Nate, are you good, bro? What are you doing?
I'm playing with a clip. That's what I've been doing for the past 30 minutes.
You were just looking at it like it was the most.
Yeah, because there's
in your life.
white shit on it.
You have ADHD.
Maybe I really don't know.
So, ironically enough, I also have a clip on my desk. He was just like, oh.
Yeah, because there's white shit on it, dude. I don't know what it is.
Ew.
Corey, what do you think about the possibility of Gronk having to defend his WWE title after scoring?
He already lost
He already
it.
lost it. Yeah.
You already lost it?
Yeah, so what
Yeah.
they did was last
Fucking
week they did
loser.
a promo, and he was in his backyard in his Foxborough home, and R-Truth was pretending to be a gardener, and I think Gronk was shooting a promo, and then he turned around and he was like, "Oh, who's that?" And the guy recording was like, "Oh, it's no one." And then he takes off the shirt and he has the referee shirt on, and then R-Truth rolled him up and pinned him, and that was it. And then I think they released him 3 days after.
Yeah.
They were just like, "See ya." I think they did have big. I think what happened initially before Gronk came out of retirement, I think they did have plans for him to face Mojo Rawley at SummerSlam because he used to be in Boston, but then he unretired, and then WWE was like, "All right, screw you," and they got rid of him.
He managed to make a good few million just from that brief time in WWE.
I mean, based on his promos, it's good he's gone. Can't cut a promo at all.
But any last thoughts on all these two both different leagues coming back? We're not getting baseball, we are getting NBA and NHL back. Who do you think?
That sucks.
I got a quick thought real quick. Actually, I'm not gonna go too deep with the Celtics. I know Mark, you said that you guys were doing House of Hoops. I'll probably hop on, so I'll save most of my Celtics talk for that. But I agree with Jake said earlier. I don't think the Celtics are probably going to win the finals. I don't think they'll go to the finals. They're good enough to make a deep playoff run, but I think the biggest question since they've been on this rest is if Kemba Walker can come back healthy. If you remember, he was struggling the last couple of weeks when he came back, and I think they'll still have trouble with Milwaukee. I don't think they have anyone in the front court that can stop Giannis. But certainly, I think some of the experts have said that the Celtics are going to go to the finals. I hope they do. But I think given the layoff they had and the whole playoff format, I think they're going to run into a team that's going to give them some trouble. And then with the Bruins, I think they have a better chance of winning the Stanley Cup than the Celtics do winning the NBA Finals. But the thing with the NHL is that it's all about the team that has the most momentum going into the playoffs. Perfect example last year with the St. Louis Blues. They were like dead last in January last year, and then Jordan Binnington came out of nowhere and carried them. So, I mean,
the screen.
I saw Jake's tweet about earlier about Binnington. He said Binnington for the moon.
Let's not talk about that. We're done.
Yeah, all I know is that both Bruins and Celtics are going to win. That's all.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it simple.
Nate's not wrong.
Well, I mean, to your point, Jake, I'm not a fan of the NHL's playoff format. I don't like that the top 4 seeds have to compete now to see who's actually going to be the top 4 seeds. I think that they had played 80% of the regular season. I think that
how many games were there left?
Look, I just don't like that we have to face the Flyers to determine if we're the number 1 seed or not. Like, I'm just not a big fan of that because the Flyers are the only team that really scares the crap out of me in the East.
Not gonna lie, I'm a total Flyers fan, guys.
Oh, boo.
I grew up in Harrisburg. I grew up with all my family's born in Philly. Like,
it's okay. One of my fraternity brothers is a Flyers fan, and
I'm not an Eagles fan though. So
that's good. That's good.
Just the Flyers.
I'm
why? And the Phillies.
You're gonna be upset to learn that I won the Stanley Cup today against the Flyers.
Fuck the Flyers.
Okay. The Bruins are my second team because the Flyers don't really go to the playoffs very often. So the Bruins are always.
Hey, just like most Philly teams.
That's true though. I think the last time I saw the Phillies in the playoffs was when I was in college, so a while ago.
What was that 2009?
Was it the last? No,
2012.
Like
they were in the playoffs.
10 or 11, yeah, one of those.
10 or 11. Yeah, because I know they won in 09. Oh no, they won in 08 and lost in 09.
They lost to the
Cardinals. They lost to Chicago
in the playoffs in like 11 or something.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It was my sophomore year of college, so it was 2011, 2012-ish.
God, that was so long ago. 9 years ago. Wow.
Damn, we're like that old. Like shit.
Don't remind us.
Nate, it's not old because you're an infant.
I don't think Nate remembers.
I was 8 at that point, dude.
We are a child.
Yeah. Just because you're a child doesn't mean we're old.
Nate just
under his armpits.
Another time getting bullied. Fuck, I really gotta stop doing these things.
Nate, are you capable of growing a beard? Like, have you had facial hair yet?
Yeah, I have. There was like a point where I didn't shave for like a month.
By that statement.
That sounded like such a disappointing. Like, yeah.
I'll get the photo. I'll get the photo. I'll send it to the group after. But like,
that's riveting. Looking forward to that.
Can we just kick Jake from the pod?
I actually
right.
It might be.
You didn't want to hear about the Blues from last year.
Yeah, let's just get rid of Jake.
They won the Stanley Cup a year ago today, so I'm a little irked.
I actually picked the Bruins to win the Stanley Cup final. I went down to the casino and bet them. They were like -200 favorites. I thought they had it in the bag, and they freaking choked.
They should have had it in the bag. How,
they should have.
Just that.
No. Let's not get started.
Nope.
Yeah, you're just gonna get angrier. It's gonna move on from that.
Jake's gonna mute everyone.
we wish the Bruins luck as the playoffs start at the end of July. There'll be more What the Puck segments that pop up on UI now that hockey's back. I cannot wait. I mentioned the other day about how I am very intense during hockey games. It's just something that happens. I instinctively sometimes kick my leg out as if making a kick save when there's a shot on goal. It's just it's an involuntary reaction, can't be helped. But if you're ever fortunate enough to watch a hockey game with me, it's something to watch out for. Just don't stand on like the right side of me. Anyway, moving on. Our next segment, we have the return of our fake mailbag, which Austin is a huge fan of. Don't let him tell you any different.
Look at Austin getting all excited now.
So
Austin's been waiting for this.
Anyone who's unfamiliar, shame on you, but we will explain it. So our fake mailbag is exactly how it sounds. It is fake mail submissions from real celebrities, but the real celebrities are not the ones who made these submissions, in case that wasn't clear. So our first fake mailbag submission comes from Pedro Pascal. Wow, the Mandalorian himself. So fantastic. I'm glad that he listens to the pod. Not that I'm surprised. And his question is, can someone give Austin life advice for thinking that High School Musical, the musical, the series, is better than my show, The Mandalorian?
Oh, you got some explaining to do now.
Austin, what can you please explain yourself again for that take?
So like,
Horrible take.
I love Star Wars and I love The Mandalorian, but I was born.
Doesn't matter what he has to say.
No,
He's wrong.
He's wrong.
Unmute.
Okay, all right, I'm done.
I clicked unmute, but it didn't. So fuck you.
Please continue, Austin.
Well, like, I don't know. I just like it better. I like music.
You like musicals?
Theater kid.
No, I'm not really a theater kid.
He's definitely a theater kid.
What's your
Definitely.
Yeah, deep down inside he is.
More.
He wishes he was.
Mandalorian?
What did you say, Mark?
So you like this version of a musical more than The Mandalorian, is what you're saying?
Well, I like them both equally, but I like.
Oh, now it's equally.
I think
Right,
this is the perfect.
backtrack.
I think he's back. I think this is the perfect opportunity to make The Mandalorian into a musical.
Yeah, there you go.
I
The
love it.
The Musalorian.
This is the way.
Mark, you're a great singer. Just do that 2 seconds. You sound like a great singer.
Yeah. He's got the golden voice for the podcast.
Yeah.
You got the voice for it. Voice Jesus.
Thank you all so kindly. You're checking it out.
If only his TV was big enough.
Yeah, I gotta fix that.
Normal size, folks.
I don't know about
Gotta GoFundMe for Mark to get a new TV.
No.
I mean, I'll gladly buy a bigger one. That's just an even bigger than the already big TV that I have.
Sure, Mark.
Sure.
This is one of my favorite running jokes that annoys me to death.
It's not a joke though.
It is a joke because I measured it out. It is a 50-inch TV.
Didn't you say it was 49?
It was 49 and a half. We saw the video. We saw the tape
It's
measure.
49 and a
They
half.
liked it.
Anyway, our next submission in fake mailbag comes from wow, this is great. Comes from Mr. Tom Cruise himself.
Ooh.
This is fantastic.
Oh, that's huge.
I don't know if he tuned in because he thought that this was like a Scientology pod, but he stumbled onto us. So, hi guys, big fan. Big was in all caps. Wow. Do you think my new movie Top Gun Maverick will do well despite the Corona pushback? And can Haley please tell me why she prefers Days of Thunder over Top Gun?
Because Days of Thunder is an amazing movie. That's why.
Top Gun's better.
Yes. Common, rare Nate W.
That's.
So,
You ever see my tweets, Austin? They are pretty good.
I do think that Top Gun 2 will do, whatever it's called, Maverick, will do good because everybody loves Top Gun. So they're all going to want to see the sequel.
You know that I will be in the theater opening night. Austin, I hope
Dressed
you join.
up.
I have my aviators ready. I have my I was Maverick for Halloween multiple years, so that I still
You got
have
the jumpsuit. You got a jumpsuit.
I got the jumpsuit. So I will be there opening night. Movie theaters are going to be opening up soon, like in the end of July. Yeah. I'm very excited.
The new Christopher Nolan one is going to be like one of the first movies out. And that looks good.
So like we went like all these months without like any new movies, and then like the last 4 months of the year, we're just gonna have a shit ton of movies.
Yeah.
Do you think people are gonna rush back into the movie theaters, or do you think they're gonna take like a slow, like see how people do first, see if people get sick, and then go?
I think they'll probably take their time. I will not be one of those people. I will be back in the theater.
I'll be one of those people.
Depends what movie's back in the theater.
Yeah.
I have a shitty immune system, so I'm gonna.
I'm not going there to see like Trolls World Tour, but like
It's not even
Will
coming
be.
out. What? I
What?
will. News to me.
You're-
That'd be Nate.
Huh?
That'd be you. You like musicals. All
Yeah, I
those.
don't want to watch that.
What was me? Shit, I wasn't paying
That
attention.
Nate, you'd be
Nate
one
and
going.
Austin are going to go see
Nate, you're
Trolls.
never paying
Nah,
attention.
dude, I'm just waiting for May when John Wick 4 comes out. That's the only thing I'm waiting for.
All right, well, we're talking. That's 2021. We're talking like
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But I'm just waiting for John Wick.
coming out. We got Top Gun Maverick, No Time to Die. We're gonna have a lot of good movies coming.
Yeah, this is just another conversation that I'm just like have nothing, to talk about in.
Stop playing with your clip. Like,
Dude, like I got nothing else to do.
The next time I'm going to the movies is when Black Widow comes out in November.
heck yeah.
It's the only
Yeah.
movies I'll actually go to the theater is for Marvel movies.
The only movie I'm excited for that's coming up is The Matrix 4. That's just about it.
The Keanu revival. Yeah, Matrix 4.
When's that supposed to come out?
I don't even know how it's supposed to come out in 2020. I don't even know how they're going to do that move. So I'm going to spoil The Matrix for anyone who hasn't seen it. Pretty much Trinity and Neo die at the end of the third movie, but they're supposed to be in the fourth movie. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. But
When does the next Wonder Woman come out? When is that scheduled?
Is it?
21.
Oh, it got
Yeah, I
pushed
think
back
early
to
2021.
Well, I'm not going to movies till 2021 then.
me too.
Yeah, same. See?
Black Widow's coming out sometime. November, yeah.
Sometime. Thanks for
Yeah,
that.
that's a
Basically, the Marvel
Super helpful.
back 6 months because of COVID. So Black Widow took the place of Eternals. Eternals gets pushed to next year, and then so on and so forth. Our next submission comes from This is a strong list of guests. As Jake eats a Ritz cracker. Zac Efron. Wow.
Oh,
And he says, I didn't know that this was our nickname, but he said, "Hello, ponies." PWNIS. The person who submitted this fake mailbag who didn't join us tonight. That's a weird thing that you wrote.
Yeah.
But anyway, hi ponies. Can Austin quote get his head in the game? Do you guys think I'd make a good Johnny Storm? Thanks.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, Zac Efron playing Johnny Storm, the Human Torch in the Fantastic Four would be fantastic. Quote pun.
Ha ha ha
Oh, you mean the Ted Bundy?
No, I think I actually wanted to see Zac Efron play. I wanted him to get into the Guardians movie, maybe as in a role there. But he could do a good Johnny Storm as well.
Mm-hmm. He'd be fantastic in that role.
Austin, will you get your head in the game?
Yes, I will get my head in the game.
All right. Well,
you get your
And also, why is it get yours? That's not even how the song goes.
Oh God.
Get your head in the game.
Yeah.
listen, I'm reading the submission. So Zac Efron, if this is actually coming from him, wrote it that way. So
No, it is coming from him.
yeah,
on.
exactly. Our next submission, I'm surprised that this is actually in plain font, comes from Cam Newton, and unemployed quarterback. Famously known for doing Instagram posts in like weird font.
His own language.
Sup, guys? Where do you think I'll land this year? Also, can someone tell Jake he was wrong about me being better than Dak last year? Appreciate you.
I think I'll end up nowhere.
Look,
Yeah, probably.
Cam Newton.
Maybe
Probably.
Jaguars.
No, they like Gardner Minshew a lot, though.
Yeah, they like Minshew.
Off the top of my head, just any team he'd go to. Like Saints, I wanted to say that the Chargers made so much sense, but they took Herbert, and I really don't know any other team that would take him. Maybe the Patriots,
Steelers.
Stidham,
Bills.
No.
maybe the Steelers.
When they get rid of Fromm for his
maybe he, maybe
racist text messages.
He'd be like, to be honest, he'd be a good mentor for Josh Allen too. So like, because they have
Yeah.
very similar play styles. Obviously, I would say that Allen has a better arm than Cam, but Cam knows somewhat to throw with accuracy. which Allen has none of. So I feel like that would be a good mentor for
It's
it.
actually a good point by Austin. Josh Allen's way too strong arm strength and Cam Newton complete lack of arm strength could average out and actually have a completed pass.
All I'm gonna say is there is a stat out there that says dropped interceptions. By the way, Jameis Winston should have thrown 53 interceptions last year, but right behind him would have been Dak Prescott with 24. So just a little, facts dropping there. But anyways,
So yeah, that's a response to Cam Newton / Brian Ariola.
Cameron Ariola.
Our next submission comes from, wow, we have a theme here, comes from Vanessa Hudgens, who writes in, "Hello, crew. I just wanted to ask why Austin hasn't simped me online yet. Should I go my own way?"
Wait, I didn't hear it. You cut out. What did you say?
She said she wanted to know why Austin hasn't simped her online yet and if she should go her own way.
I'm pretty sure, if I'm being totally honest, I did.
Why does Brian know all these lyrics? I mean,
he probably
He does have a daughter, okay, guys. It makes more sense than Austin knowing all the lyrics.
I mean, I was 5 when it came out, so.
Yeah, still.
Sure. Can you answer the class why you haven't simped Vanessa Hudgens online yet? You simp everyone else.
She's a crazy bitch.
Yeah, didn't she just come out?
She's still hot though.
Oh, she's still hot. But
what did she do?
She said that
If she
coronavirus
can't,
is
I have trouble keeping up.
Did she say coronavirus isn't a big deal or something?
Oh, she said everyone's gonna die, right, or something like that.
Vanessa Hudgens has
something
been
like that, like everybody's gonna die eventually.
Oh,
Yeah,
she's
that's
COVID shaming people. Oh well, she's canceled.
And then she also all the High School Musical cast on TikTok did we're all in this together, and our Ashley Tisdale started it. Then then everybody else joined in and did it. So the other people and stuff like that. Then Vanessa Hudgens just sat there drinking wine. It's what?
But Zac Efron didn't do it, right? I didn't see him.
No, he didn't do it.
Was this like the Gal Gadot Imagine video that everyone hated so much? Is that what you're talking about?
No, it wasn't. It was I guess it's somewhat similar, but it was a lot more cheerful.
What word did you just say?
Good job for pronouncing similar, Austin. I'm really
Is that the word he was going for? Similar?
Okay.
He sounded so unsure when he said similar.
Because I wasn't I guess it's somewhat that, but it's not at the same time.
Yeah, it was just a funny word to get confused on because you sounded fine the entire time. Similar.
I was thinking of is it? And then I
don't. And so our final fake mailbag submission.
Oh boy.
From Austin's mother. And the submission is, can one of you guys tell Austin to go clean his room if he wants me to heat up his burrito? Thank you.
I mean, I make my own burritos.
Are you suggesting that this is fake? This is not a
Yes.
from your mom?
Oh my god.
I don't know.
I think you should ask Brian why he's so obsessed with Austin.
Yeah,
Five
five out of those 6 mailbag questions were directed at Austin.
Yeah.
Me and Jake both live in Brian's head rent free, so.
Everyone lives in Brian's head rent free. I rent spaces out to everyone because I have so much real estate in there.
So what's the property tax like there?
Property tax is free because he allows you right in.
Works, but I'll let that slide.
I've been in his head since he messed up the Chargers draft.
Yeah, never forget, Boltman was going to cover his ass. That is our fake mailbag for the evening. But before we kind of went our separate ways for the night, there is a phenomenon sweeping the nation. It was blogged about yesterday on PonesMedia.com. And
Oh god.
of chips
go off.
on a sandwich. And good news, this was put out to the people. It was we polled our fans, and 62% of voters agree with Mark.
Well, why'd you talk about yourself in the third person?
Yeah, you gave the rock shit for that, but you're doing it right now.
He's the
Listen,
Mark.
you can mute anyone besides me. Listen, 62% of people either put chips on their sandwich or think that I'm very smart and handsome. So
No,
let's discuss
putting chips on the sandwich and not putting chips on the sandwich were tied. So there was no definitive answer on whether people actually do that or not.
If you put chips in your sandwich, I think you're a serial killer. Not gonna
True.
lie. You have chips have
Especially
to be
peanut
on
butter
the
and
side
jelly.
of a sandwich. Yeah,
On the
exactly.
side.
Let me ask you a question. Do you put French fries on your burger?
Wait, what?
What? Gee, what the fuck?
You don't put. Oh my god, you guys are so pathetic.
I do it sometimes. I mainly do it with like onion rings.
Yeah, like
No.
even then, that's acceptable. Onions
I
on a
painted
burger.
a
Well, I mean, it's just
beautiful
onions on a burger.
picture on this blog as to why you are missing out if you do not put chips in your sandwich. If you have not read it already, I suggest you do. I'm only trying to help you all out.
I have not
And
read it, and I'm not going to.
I'm not gonna
Because
read
I
it.
don't agree.
You know what?
Chips belong on the side.
I read it. You know what? 2 slices of Wonder Bread, 1 generously spreaded layer of peanut butter, applied to both slices of the bread, and 1 slice of bread coated with Concord grape jelly over the peanut butter. And then this is where we slide those chips right in. You can't mute me. I mute you, Nate. Corey, I'll let you live, and Nate can sit there too.
It wasn't me.
I don't care.
I really did. I provided 2 public services in that blog. Number 1, if you are not making your PB&J with Concord grape jelly, and if you're not spreading peanut butter on both slices of bread, you're doing it wrong. Grow up.
I agree with you there, but not for the chips part. Peanut butter goes on both sides.
If you don't want to put chips on your PB&J, I can accept it, but chips do belong in the middle of a sandwich.
No.
And that's
No.
No,
It also depends on
on the side
sometimes
next to my sandwich.
I'll put like a couple chips, but like in the sandwich,
No.
I'm not putting a whole bag.
Well, I'm glad you're capable of compromise, Austin. That's pretty big of you.
Why
Wait,
would you
you
put
should,
a
like-
whole bag?
I don't know.
Who would
That,
do
like-
that?
Let's be clear. I'm not suggesting you dump an entire bag of chips in your sandwich to the
is.
point where the sandwich is about this big.
What?
I'm saying I have
what
about 5 or 6 chips
No.
that are placed in the middle of my sandwich. It provides some texture, an excellent crisp crunch, and
Toast the
adds
bread for your
adds
texture.
to the
Don't
flavor.
ruin the sandwich.
So I think what Austin's trying to get at here is that instead of putting the whole chips on the bag, he just opens the bag and throws the sandwich in with the chips. That's his compromise.
Celery on the side.
Yep.
So
I'm never gonna live that one down.
listen, you were the one chomping on celery for the entire world to see. It just great.
You know what? I'll give the article a chance, just because I've never tried chips on a sandwich.
No.
There
I'll
you
never
go.
put chips
Eat-
on a peanut butter
Yeah.
and jelly sandwich.
Read
Yeah,
it with
peanut butter
Oh,
and
wait.
jelly though.
Haley,
I'll
make
go
sure-
into it with an
put it on-
open
On a
mind.
burger.
Yeah, read
Haley,
it with an
put it
open mind.
on-
That's all I ask.
Haley,
And
put it on some.
You put blue cheese with-
I'll read it right
Listen,
now.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm never gonna do it because I'm diabetic and that's way too many carbs, and my blood sugar would be like 400 after eating that shit. So
all right, so what Haley is
Health
saying
reasons.
is that she actually would do this if not
No,
for health reasons.
I still wouldn't do it, but health reasons are the main reasons. do it.
Well, Corey, I like the fact that you're approaching this with an open mind. You're going to read the article, and hopefully, if you are not preparing your PB&J properly, that at least you'll fix that part of your life.
You know what? We need to ask Gordon Ramsay this question.
Just
Could you
Oh,
get
please,
some-
please.
Gordon Ramsay would absolutely agree with me because he's
I'm
a
gonna
man of
be
culture.
Pones Media Twitter to tweet Gordon Ramsay and ask him.
Yeah, I'm
Well,
good.
that would
He's
be
gonna be like,
done.
you fuck.
I'll just tweet up and ask.
But unless anyone has any closing thoughts, I think that's going to do it for us this evening. Glad to kind of get back on the reporting train. Obviously, there's a lot going on around the world right now. That's very serious, but not a bad thing to be able to laugh and make fun of your friends for the way that they don't eat sandwiches properly. So with that, all that being said, let's kind of go around the room, and our esteemed panel can let our listeners know where they can be found online. So, Mr. Moodlighting, playing with clips and not paying attention, Nate.
He hasn't been paying attention this whole time.
The entire time. Don't even ask him where to find him online.
Yeah, my tweets are very shitty, so there's no point in following me. But if you want to, it's my name, LS Nate. That's it.
Nate is a bad boy. He was recently suspended by Jack.
Okay. Yeah, so let me explain this real quick. I ask, what is this thing? And it's like this stupid shit. It's like WWG1 some shit. I asked what it is. I get suspended. What the fuck? Like, I just don't know what it was. What the fuck is that? And then the support. Oh my god,
that's
the fucking support for Twitter.
Suspension story I've ever heard.
Oh, dude, this fucking Twitter support just upsets me every fucking time
right now.
If you look through the email that I use for Twitter, it's just DMCA claims. It's just so fucking annoying. It's just all DMCA claims. It's like, what the? I'm done.
I've gotten a DMCA claim on my Twitter before.
It's every week. It's just every fucking week.
I've only gotten one before.
Every week. It's like 3 or 4 tweets every week.
Our other resident bad boy, who, as you just mentioned, is also often suspended from Twitter, Mr. Austin Whittle. If you are not suspended, where can people find you online, sir?
You can find me at Austin_Whittle.
Or Whittle_Austin.
No, it's just Whittle Austin, I think, for my second account.
Correct.
But, and, like, I don't even know, like, the last time I got suspended, which was 2 days ago. I didn't even, like, I
2 days ago.
sent the appeal, and 15 minutes later, or, like, not even, I don't even think it was, like, 15 minutes later, I got my account back.
Jack is really fucking with you.
Yeah, like, honestly, like, I got it, like, I checked Twitter at, like, probably, like, 10, and then, or I think it was, like, 11:01, then I refresh it, and I switch to my other account because I'm like, tweets aren't loading, then I'm like, fuck. I switched to the Whittle Austin account, and then I switched back to it, and then he's like, you're currently suspended. I go to Twitter, like twitter.com, send the appeal, and then I go and I just have the notification, or I check it at, like, just randomly at, like, 11:16, and I'm like, it's unsuspended.
All right, listen, Austin and Nate, the two of you, next time that you are suspended and we ask you about it, you need to come up with cooler stories, all right?
Yeah.
On my first account, I got suspended with like 2K, and I'm not happy about it, but like I did deserve it. I definitely did deserve that. I can't say what on the pod because, yeah.
Why?
I can't say.
Next time you're
put it in the group chat.
Collectively,
yeah, I will.
Say that you like called Trump a shithead on Twitter or something like just.
I mean, that's just like true.
Say something
would that really get you suspended though?
Yeah, probably.
It's supposedly like it has to some people, like, it's talking shit.
You know
about,
who's even
like, in replies to like Trump tweets and stuff like that. Trump fans will report you.
Did you know if you type in racist on the Twitter search engine, it comes up with Donald Trump first?
Uh-huh.
It did for a while.
I mean, it's not shocking.
Anyway, for our panelists who are not routinely suspended on social media, Corey, where can everyone find you online?
You can find me on Twitter. It's at Celtics Hive, all lowercase. Also, Mark, I just finished your article. I'm intrigued. I might actually have to try it now tomorrow for lunch.
It's a revolution.
I should have just read it during the pod.
It is.
I mean, at least it's something to do. I could have
not on a peanut butter and jelly, right? Are you gonna try it on something else?
I don't know. We'll
like,
see how adventurous I get tomorrow.
Like peanut butter and jelly, though?
Disgusting.
Most geniuses are not properly appreciated in their time, and that's what I am.
Sure, Mark.
So for being a visionary and a disciple.
Mm-hmm.
On like Twitter or on like Wikipedia for geniuses, it's gonna be Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, Mark Pacelli.
Voice Jesus.
Elite company, honestly. Jake, where can our fans and listeners and viewers find you online, sir?
You can find me. Yo, chill. You can find me at Twitter or Instagram at jksnake20.
This is why you all need to be watching our pod, not just listening, because there are theatrics going on. Nate was trying to mute Jake, and Jake then bounced him from the call. Nate has since rejoined.
Don't play with fire, Nate.
I'll just end everyone's call right now. Don't tempt me.
Haley, where can our loyal listeners and viewers and fans find you?
You can find me on Twitter at CSI Haley. I want to make sure Nate didn't interrupt me or mute me. So.
And I can be found on twitter.com at markpacelli13. Follow me for life-changing advice about the way you should be eating lunch on a daily basis. So with that being said, that is going to be all for us tonight. Have a wonderful evening or morning or afternoon, depending on when you're listening or watching. And we will see you all soon. Say goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Peace.